Welcome back, everybody. My name is Daniel. This is the Righteous Monkey YouTube channel. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. This is my first time having somebody on the show, and a really good friend of mine I met like a few months back, not long ago. So, we're going to get right into it. We're in a little time constraint, but we're going to make this as entertaining and as efficient as possible. So, I'd like to welcome you guys.
Welcome
Birdman.
back.
Bird. What's up, bro? Welcome.
Happy Sunday, man. It's Sunday. I got the weekend off of work. Life is good.
Yes, sir, man. I love the setup and love having you here, man, as my first guest. That's awesome. I need to step my background game up. Anyway, this is Birdman from Birdman Drug Stories. We're going to get right into it. Bird, if you could just tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself.
Birdman Drug Stories from the 413, which is Massachusetts. Born in Springfield, Mass. Raised up there, got into lots of mayhem. Moved out towards Boston. Won some dope runs ending in heroin. Sent to a little time in county jail. Got out, rebuilt my life from scratch. That was 7 years of mostly success. Total success when it comes to the drug thing. But just life has been good since I was able to slay the drug dragon.
That's what I'm talking about. Love me a good success story, good redemption story. And you're a prime example, man. You are living a life that so many people would wish for, so many people that want, and you're living the dream, man. So I love it.
I used to wish for it too. I never thought I would get it. I used to wish for it all the time. And I'll make like a little baby step and then completely crash and burn every time. And it was just repetitive. I thought that was going to be my whole life. I thought just one time I'll just die. Instead of almost die, just die.
I get it, man. I totally get it. What was your DOC and how long did that last?
It depends what year you're talking. I'm 39 years old. I'm an old Birdman now. So, I mean, in the beginning, I started with alcohol and weed, but my drug of choice once I got into cocaine was cocaine. But then I discovered ecstasy, and my drug of choice then became ecstasy. And then from there to fucking, perks and the 30 milligram blues, not the fentanyl press things they have out there nowadays that I see online. Real blues from the crooked doctors all over the country. Most of them are in jail right now. So it depends what drug I was doing, man. It's hard to give me a drug of choice because it depends what drug I was doing. When I got turned on to opiates, my drug of choice had to be opiates. There was no other way.
Yeah, man, 100%. Once I got into opiates, everything else stopped. I would drink occasionally, just depend where I would go, but that would just be for like social aspects.
Now, is that my drug of choice? You know what I mean? Is it my drug of choice or is that not my drug of choice? That's a weird question because I don't fucking know it. If you told me, Bird, I'm going to give you a 1 day pass. You can pick any drug that you want. You can get high with impunity. We'll test it to make sure it's not cut with anything. And you get a 1 day vacation from real life, a little reality vacation, You can only do it this one time though, Bird. What's your drug of choice? I wouldn't pick an opiate. You know what I'm saying? But if I was addicted to opiates and you said, Bird, you can have one drug today for free, and I'm living the drug life, I would have to pick the opiate so I wouldn't be sick, but I wouldn't call it my drug of choice because it's not what I would pick in my 1 day life vacation.
Gotcha. One last question before we get into the juicy stuff. How did you come up with the name Birdman Drug Stories or Birdman?
Birdman was just, that was like right at the end of high school. We just graduated and stuff, and we're on a blunt ride, me and my like lifelong friends. I'm still friends with to this day. We're on a blunt ride, just bullshit, and they said I was always scavenging on the blunt because I'd be like, yeah, pick me up, and I'd have no weed, I'd have no money, I wouldn't want to throw down, I wouldn't even have enough for a cigar, I wouldn't even have a cigar. I'd be like, yeah, pick me up, guys, and they thought to pick me up, I'd have something to the table. I'd just be on trying to smoke on their weed. They called me a vulture. Then I shaved my head, and they said I looked like a turkey. Then they said I looked like a cross between a turkey and a vulture, right? So they started calling me a turkey vulture, but that only lasted a couple of days with the turkey vulture. That's too long of a nickname to have, turkey vulture. So they condensed it to Birdman. And it just stuck. Once people, they're like, yo, he does look like a bird. And then I was always doing what they would call dirty bird maneuvers and dirty bird shenanigans, like, drug robberies and, hitting licks, screwing people over. That was known as a dirty bird move. In my local area, if you got dirty birded It means you got robbed for your drugs.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Well said, man. Well said. So, as you guys can see by the title, this is called Dealership Diaries. If you can, really quick, give us a brief history of your employment history and where you
Well,
are now.
once I got into the car business, I really didn't do much else. I heard that if you're a drug addict, that you have the natural born salesmanship. You're like meant to be a salesman. So if you're a good drug addict, if you're a good manipulator, if you're a good schemer and bender of the truth and stretcher of the truth, chances are you'll have a great opportunity in sales. Good thing about car sales is most places, they don't background check. As long as you haven't murdered somebody, like last week, they'll hire felons and shit like that. If you got some dope charges on there, this is good for people to know. If you got some junky dope charges on there and you're off the shit, you can, in the car business, it's all good. There's lots of ex-drug addicts in the car business. Lots of them are now making well into the six figures and are rich, and our managers are making big money. And these are ex-drug addicts too. The car business doesn't really check for a background check. Once I started getting in trouble with the law, my drug road was getting me arrested and with felonies, my options became limited. I dropped out of college 3 times, 0 for 3. I struck out trying to go to college. I didn't know what I was going to do. My cousin had just got out of jail and was making big money. I'm like, yo, what are you back hustling again? Because he pulled up in like a nice car. I'm like, man, you're doing good. He's like, yeah, I'm selling cars. I'm like, you're selling cars? I'm like, what is that, like code word? I'm like, cars? Like, can I get some of those cars? I get it. Wink, wink. Let me get some cars, dog. Let me get 2. But nah, he was actually talking, automobiles. He got into the car business because he had just gotten felonies and shit. And hell, he makes probably $500,000 a year right now. He's been in the car business ever since. We were kids then. He makes like $500,000 a year. My right-hand man.
That's
like a
awesome.
brother to me.
100%, bro. That's awesome. It's good having that connection and someone to look forward to. It doesn't matter how old they are,
That's how I got in the car business with necessity. I was a felon. I got in trouble. My cousin, who's my right-hand man, growing up since little kids, he had gotten in trouble, and that was his ticket to like a regular life and like a real money-making opportunity without having to risk your freedom. And me, as being a local junkie scumbag addict that I was, I had what it took to be a car salesman. I was fucking a natural, dude.
Yeah, 100%, man. With that voice, you could do anything you set your mind to, bro. 100%, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, with that being said, and with your moniker, Birdman Drugstores, when you first got into the car business, were you addicted? If so, how did that look? And tell us about some of the shenanigans that took place behind the scenes.
I've done so much shit. I mean, you figure I was addicted to heavy narcotics. I started selling cars in the year was 2007. So, right, I was 07 and I got clean 7 years ago. So I'm not very good at math. So 07 until 7 years, ago. That's a big stretch of being an addict in the car business. I remember one time at a Toyota dealership. This is the first ever dealership I got hired at. It was Leah Toyota. It was in Massachusetts, and it was near my hometown. I got hired there, and I just gotten into Oxycontin 80s. I graduated from Perk 30s, and then all of a sudden I had an 80s Connect. My 30 Connect, all of a sudden he could get 80s. So I'm like, yeah, we all went to the 80s then. So I got into 80s, but those made me viciously sick. They made me sicker than if I didn't have blues. Think about it. Instead of doing 30 milligrams at a time, now I'm doing 80. So if I didn't have any and I ran out of money, or the dude didn't have any, or I couldn't meet somebody, I was getting really sick. So I was at Leah Toyota one day. I fucking went in the bathroom stall. It was like a brand new facility at the time. So the bathrooms were immaculate. There's always people cleaning in there, mopping and shit. I fucking went in there dope sick and went fucking laid down in the stall where no one could see me and just waited for my dude to call me back, because he said that he had to go pick up, meet his dude. Then he would come back around and meet me on my lunch break. So basically, I just had to make it into a lunch break without like anything bad happening. But I couldn't sell a car. If I had a customer, I wouldn't be able to handle them. I was really, really dope sick. So I went and took a nap on the bathroom floor in the stall until lunchtime. Then I went out and got my shit.
Damn, man.
That's just like one of a million story. I got like millions of car dealership ones. That's just like a light one, dude. I've done lots of dirt in car dealerships too,
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. So on the subject, as soon as you said restroom, some immediate stories started going through my mind. But yeah, we'll have to address those on some future videos of myself.
You want to hear a worse one from that same dealership, from that same era, same time frame? Maybe might have been within a week apart of it, right? Maybe the falling asleep, taking a dope sick nap A week later, get this, I'm dope sick again. But this time I got money, but I'm just like not trying to be at work. I was like, yo, I don't want to work today. I'm like, fuck this. I'm sick. I got to go meet my boy. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm like, how can I get out of work, you know? So I fucking sit there. I'm like, how can I get out? This is one of the shittiest, most scumbaggish things I've ever done in my whole entire life. And I've done a lot of bad things, right? There was a girl from my hometown who was like years younger than me that I didn't even know. I have no idea who she was, but she was the same background nationality as I was, right? Portuguese. She had died tragically in some type of maybe drunken driving accident or some type of tragic accident. I was so dope sick. I told my boss that I was related to her and I had to go to the services so I could leave work and then go fucking get high and take a free day off. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. And it worked fucking perfect. I took like 2-3 days off. They're like, hey, man, are you okay to come back? I'm sitting there like smoking blunts. Like, oh, no, boss. I was like, maybe like one more day. How about Friday? I'll come back Friday. I'll come back on payday. They're like, all right, I come back Friday. And I'll be like, I'll be there Friday. And it's like scumbag shit. I said I was related to someone that tragically died in my hometown. Like, that was really fucked up. Like, that's one that I remember because that's fucking low.
I get it, man. I totally get it. And you're not alone. You know, you're not alone in that.
Opiates are crazy. I would never do that for some coke or for some ecstasy. Yeah. Well, I'm saying opiates are just crazy in general. Opiates had me doing some other shit. One time I pretended to pass out to go home. I was working at a Nissan dealership in West Springfield. I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, same shit. Like, I gotta get out of here. Fucking same shit. I was always dope sick wanting to leave. I made sure I was in front of like the receptionist and my boss, and they're all like sitting there chit chatting. And I pretend passed out. I threw myself to the floor and pretend fainted. And they're like, oh my God, everyone like came hovering over me. And I like got out of work. I figured they just let me go home. But get this. No, the fucking the top manager, like the executive who we never even deal with, came out of his back office to see what was going on. And instead of just letting me go home, he was so worried about me that he went with me in the ambulance all the way to the hospital and waited for me. This dude's like the executive. I had never spoken to him other than hi. His name was Frank. I'm like, hi, Frank. Bye, Frank. You know, everyone's just nice to Frank when he walks by. But we didn't have to work deals with him. If you're just a salesman, you don't say nothing to Frank other than good morning and good night. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Frank came out of his fucking back office and he rode in the ambulance with me. And then waited there, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, fuck. I was like, this shit is taking forever. My scheme, it kind of worked, but it kind of backfired because it took me hours to get out of the hospital and get Frank off my ass and go on to my junkie the rest of my day. So it's just another opiate situation where I pretend fainted, and then that happened.
Man. So could you tell me about any close calls of you possibly getting busted or like an intense situation, either a customer, you know what I'm talking about?
All right, a close call. I fucking ran up. I was working at a Hyundai dealership up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I was heavy into pills and shit. And my pill dealer at this time was like one of my good friends. Like, we were friends before the drugs or the pills. You know, we got into drugs together because we're from the same area. But he was like a lifelong friend, not just the dealer. But anyways, I was a vicious addict, so I ran a credit line with him. He knew I worked at the dealership, so he would front me as much as I really needed within reason. And I'd always pay him back on payday, get some more, and so on and so forth. And sometimes I'll let him borrow my car if I had a car, but then I had lost my car and totaled it. So I had no car. So I'm like taking the bus to this dealership. I'm like, fuck, it's hard for me to save up money for a car because I'm doing pills every day. So I'm like, I'm never going to have a car again. And I'm like, fuck, man. So I was taking dealerships. I was taking a dealer plate saying I had a customer and was going for a test drive because you don't have to check with nobody. I can just grab a plate, and if nobody's looking, hey, he might be on a test drive. So I would leave every day and fuck because I had no car no more and go meet my boy and so he would front me pills. He let me get too big of a credit line. He let me bite off more than I wanted to pay back. I'm like, fuck, do I owe him like my whole check? I was like, fuck that. I was like, I don't want to pay him. I came up with some lame excuse why I was mad at him. I'm like, you know what? Like, he's a Green Bay Packers fan. I'm like, fuck the Packers. I was like, I ain't paying him. So I fucking told him to eat shit that I'm not paying him, So he fucking called the dealership and talked to my boss. I go into work the next day, and I called my dealership and asked to talk to the sales manager and told them that, that I'm a drug addict and I've been stealing company cars to go pick up drugs on company time and shit. Yeah, my boss pulled me aside and questioned me about the whole shit. I fucking played it off and said, that's a crazy ex-girlfriend I got. I said, she's always doing shit like that. Because I did have I kind of took 1% of truth. Did have a crazy ex, and I stretched it to cover my ass on this one. I never got in trouble for that. It was all good. I didn't get written up. I just had to be more careful.
Yep. It's amazing what the desperation could make somebody do while addicted to opiates. You know, the more we talk, the more I get to know you, the more things I know for a fact we have in common. Not only the DOC, right? But just our thinking and the level of desperation. You know, I mean, there's so much we have in common, man. It trips me up. Like with each story, like I relate fully, man. Relate
Well, I hear
fully.
about the time I crashed a service technician's truck. This Asian guy.
Bring it
This guy
on,
was
baby.
Asian. He spoke no English, right? Asian guy,
Yeah.
nice guy, family man. And this was when I was at the end of my dope run. I was about to be in jail soon, right? This was the end of the road for me. This is many years after these past stories were way long ago. This is the end of my dope run, which is now it's the end of my drug days. But anyways, I was heroin addict in uh, central Massachusetts, Worcester area, right? And the dealership where I overdosed behind the dealership and got fired on my day off, like this same dealership, right? It was the end of my dope road. I had borrowed this dude's. I needed to borrow a truck to go to my hometown. Well, my wife is out there.
This is the bird logo, okay? Bird
I had,
logo.
I had to go to my hometown. This is before I ever met my wife. Disclaimer: I didn't know my wife even existed yet. But I was going to my hometown area to meet up with my ex-girlfriend because she was a drug addict too, right? All my exes were ex-drug addicts, you know.
Yeah.
So I went back there, but I had no car because I was a fucking dope fiend. I smooth talked this fucking service technician, Asian guy in the back, who doesn't speak English other than yes or no type of shit. That I need to borrow your truck. You know, I made up some dumbass reason why I needed his truck, and he let me do it. And then next week, like a good junkie, I asked to do it again. I was just going to my hometown and getting Xanax and getting heroin. We're doing Xanax and heroin together. So the second time he let me borrow the truck, I end up fucking going back to my fucking hometown area. I fucking, we get the dope, we get the Xanax, we're doing dope, we're doing Xanax. We both pass out like at her like mom's house or some shit because she lives with her mom because she's a junkie too. And fucking I'm laying there and I woke up like, oh my God, what time is it? I was supposed to have the truck back at, by like 6 o'clock when he gets out of work. I fucking wake up, it's already past 6 o'clock and I got a fucking hour ride from my hometown area back to where I was living, where the dealership is. So I had an hour ride. I woke up, I was already supposed to be there. I'm like, oh my God. And I was fucked up. So when I fucking left, I'm like, yo, I gotta go. I scramble out of there. I'm driving the truck. I did some more shit. I must have did some more dope. I think I sniffed some more dope, maybe took another. I did some more shit. I forget exactly what more I did because I was out of it, dog. But I did some more drugs, either dope or Xanax or both, before I left. And I got on the main road about 2 miles from my ex's house. And I fucking ran off the road, fell asleep, and hit an unoccupied parked vehicle. It was a Toyota Camry or a Corolla. I forget now if it was a Camry or a Corolla. I put that story on my channel too. It's called hitting an unoccupied parked vehicle. So I blacked out from the Xanax and dope, passed out at the wheel, and hit this fucking brand new Camry parked in someone's front yard. Not in my own vehicle. I was with the borrowed truck of the technician at my work. I'm already late to go see him. Now the cops are coming and shit. I had drugs on me and shit. It was nuts.
Oh my God, bro. So that's insane, bro. I could hear this all day, man.
I got like a million at car dealership.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I love me a good workplace. I love me some good workplace shenanigans, man. Like they're so unique, and there's no stories like them. But at your current place of employment, did you ever do you have a using history at this place? Like, dude, does
Where I
anybody
work
there
at
know?
now?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Not at this particular organization because my shenanigans, my drug days were in Massachusetts. I live in North Carolina now. So I'm gone. But the reason I'm down here is like I said, my right hand man, and I got cousins that are successful in the car business, and so they know about my drug history. I'm related to them, and they're like brothers to me. But I lost touch with them when I was doing bad and shit.
Yeah.
So I had worked for them back home in some of these crazy stories. Like I fucking fucked up plenty of jobs with them back home, but they seen when I was in the sober house and when I came out of jail and became the house manager, that was kind of starting to turn my life around. They believed in me, and I kept mentioning on Facebook that I can't wait to get back in the car business once I get off probation. And I want to move away again and all this stuff. So they gave me a job offer, and I took them up on it. So yes and no with the drug history. I mean, I haven't done any fucking drug dirt since my drug days. I haven't done any dealership dirt since my drug days. That was every day I'll do some shady shit. But Now I'm like a dependable employee. I get there early. I get to work 10, 15 minutes early, sometimes more. Like if I gotta stay late, I gotta stay late. Like I'm a team player. I help out others, and I know what I'm doing. I've been in the car business a long time, so I'm an asset to the company. I'm reliable. I'm an asset. I got experience. I train up some of the younger guys that are young guys being salesmen, and they know about the drug stories. I fucking send them my fucking stories all the time, and I send them the car dealership ones. I'm like, this is the shit I used to do, and they're like blown away because they're like, man, Bird, you were crazy. I'm like, you don't even know.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. How are we doing on time?
Oh, we're good. I mean, he hasn't texted me yet. You
Okay.
know, fucking dude's always
Okay.
running behind.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Um, so how long have you been clean now? You just hit 7 years, right?
7 years on Memorial Day weekend was 7 years. So shit, over 7 years. You know, the first 2 years, the AA way, AA, buy the book,
Yeah.
sponsors, steps, meetings, home group. It was like boot camp, yo. But that's what I needed to get my life together at first.
Yeah.
I didn't want, say a lifetime, a life sentence of it. So the
Yeah.
last 5 years out of the 7 plus, I have been 420 friendly, but that's it. I'll burn, but that's it. I gave myself that one little fucking crutch or whatever, or that one out, and I said if I can keep it to just that, it's not going to negatively affect
Yeah.
my life or anything like that. So other than other than that, nothing else for over 7 years. So and my life has drastically changed. I got fucking married last year. I'm almost at my 1 year marriage anniversary. It will be next month. I'll be married for you. I didn't think I was gonna be married when I was a homeless fucking dope fiend. You know
Right.
what I mean?
So many
But
blessings, man. So many blessings every day. Um, what did your last day of using or the last week look like?
yeah, that's a good one too. That's on my channel as well. If you want the more detailed version of the story,
Yeah.
check it out on Birdman Drug Stories. I have a more detailed version. I'll give you like maybe the Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to share it. We'll
I'm
put
gonna
it on
make
the community
I'm gonna make
list.
a really really long story really short.
Let's get it.
I overdosed behind the dealership, got fired on my day off. That story is on my channel. That was one of my epic game changing moments, right? I get fired, but I still have a room for rent. That I've got a roof over my head. I don't have a car. It's the end of my dope road, so I'm like out of possessions. I have nothing, but I had a little roof over my head, and I was like, "Fuck, dude." And it was like a shady little roof. I just gave the cash directly to the owner who would come by once a week and collect from everybody that was renting rooms. It was some like hood shit, yo. And I was
Yeah.
used to come by and pay like the shady landlord would come by because this was totally you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to rent out every room to a house. It wasn't zoned for that. It was like an illegal boarding house I was living. I was a dope fiend. I'm like, whatever, give me a roof, you know? So I was
Yep.
living there. And so the end of my road, when I got fired from a dealership, fucking on my day off for overdosing behind the dealership where I almost died. You know, once I got fired, I was able to keep a roof. And I'm like, you know what? I just need any job now, even if it's not car sales. Cause I'm like, I burnt up all my car sales. I got fired and quit all these jobs. So I'm like, it's gonna be tough to get a car dealership job around where I'm at because I'd already fucked all those jobs up at all the major companies. There's only so many major companies. I burned all the bridges already. So I just got a whatever job. I worked at a call center, right? I worked there for about 2, maybe 3 weeks. And I'm sitting there working for 2 or 3 weeks to get my first paycheck. Once I get my first paycheck, I'm like, all right, I was going to buy groceries. I was like, instead of buying groceries, I told myself I'm going to do 140 bag and in the morning I'll get groceries. Instead,
Mhm.
I spent the whole fucking paycheck, the whole bi-weekly 2 weeks worth of pay, walking to work and walking home from work. I spent it all in one night on 20s and 40 bags of cocaine like a fucking dumbass. I should have just gotten a lot and, gotten a better deal, but I didn't. I nickled and dimed myself, spent the whole check, right? The next fucking morning, I'm on no sleep and I'm out of coke. But I had maybe $7 left, not enough to get more coke. The dude won't front me. He's not answering anyways. I got $7. I'm feeling like shit. I go to there's a liquor store right next door to where I lived at. So I went there and I got 7 $1 shots. They're the little mini bottles.
Yeah.
I had $7. I got 7 of them. I went home. I drank them. Ended up fucking getting in a fight with one of the other dudes that lived in the house later on the night. Whooped his ass. He called the cops on me because he knew I was out on bail for the dope charge from 2 weeks prior from overdosing
Oh,
behind the dealership.
God.
I fucking punched my roommate in his face after I spent my whole check on blow. Spent my last $7 on vodka. Beat up my roommate, and then he ratted me out, and that's how I ended up in jail. So that was my last using experience. I went out with a bang. Last time I drank, I beat up my roommate, went to jail. Last time I did coke, beat up my roommate, went to jail. So I went out with a bang. Bah!
Man, yes, you did, man. Yes, you did. Does your addict mind ever play tricks on you? Like, say, for example, you're driving a car, boom, a thought of beer, anything like that. Like, in what ways does your addicted mind, if any, play tricks on you?
plays tricks on me almost every day. Yeah, definitely plays tricks on me quite often, almost every day. You know, maybe about a year ago, I think I might have posted this on my channel too. It's a small little video, kind of lost in the shuffle. So I got a lot of videos up because I've been on YouTube for a while. So I got overpaid one day at work. It was payday, and they overpaid me by like over $3,000. And I'm
Ooh,
like, yo,
nice.
I'm like, it was like a
That's
clear
awesome.
mistake. It wasn't like $30. It was like a clear mistake. I was like, you know, I didn't want to give that money back, but for all I knew, this was my right hand man, who I told you about earlier in the story, who's my boss currently. Who knows if he's tested me? Hey, let's see if birds really change. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, well, they're trying to set me up to see if, if I changed or not. I didn't know if it was a setup or not. So as soon as I got that, I thought I had that fleeting moment where I was like, fuck you, maybe they won't find out. I even had the thought of going out and getting $3,000 worth of drugs and having like a crazy wild run relapse and like scrapping my marriage and just be like, let's go fucking crazy. I had the fleeting thought of it, but I didn't act on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I called my cousin. I'm like, hey, thanks for the raise. He goes, what raise? I'm like, you guys overpaid me by like 30 something hundred. And so went in the morning, gave him back all the money, and like that was a big moment in my life that had changed because there's no way you could have even got $30 back for me back in the day. Never mind, they overpaid me by $3,000. I gave it back without even being asked immediately.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful, beautiful story, man.
Yep.
One last question. One last question. What
All right.
is working for you today? What is keeping you clean today?
I wouldn't put all your stock in that. My channel helps me get shit off my chest. I come out here, tell my stories. I don't get the most views or nothing, but I don't care. I do this. It's self therapy for me, which is helpful. Sometimes I can help out other people, so that in turn helps me out. Like I said, I smoke, which takes the edge off for me. But I didn't smoke right away. I wouldn't recommend somebody who was a week off drugs to go start smoking weed. I did it after 2 years. Maybe you don't have to wait that long, but everybody's different is the point. So I gave myself a little crutch there, which helps me as well. I have a very supportive wife. She hears all my drug stories. When they're not recorded for YouTube, she hears them all day, every day, and she's very supportive of my past and who I've become. You know what I'm saying? She's seen me grow a lot in our relationship, and since I've been out of the drug life, she's seen me like go on to the next level in my life. Like I'm like an official like adult fucking tax-paying citizen or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep. Right on, man. Thank you so much. We're going to have to do another one of these.
Yeah, I got a million more. Those were just the first that came to mind. I got like a million.
Yeah.
If I sat and thought about car dealership stories, I got millions. Oh, it's bad, but yeah, we do it again.
Yeah, man. We're going to have you back on the show, man. And where can everybody find you?
Birdman Drug Stories on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Welcome back. I'm out of here.
Right on, brother. All right, guys. Well, you have there you have it. Birdman Drug Stores. Awesome guy, man. The more I get to know this guy, the more I know we have in common. It's crazy. Thanks for watching.